Welcome back, everyone. In our last video, we built a workflow to fetch lab data from the CSIR website, and it worked perfectly. But there was one thing we did not solve. In this video, we fix that. You will learn how to use the start loop step to repeat actions across multiple pages, and you will discover a step called the GUI Web Table, built specifically for table extraction inside loops. By the end, you will have a workflow that automatically fetches data from every page and writes it all to Excel. Let us get into it. But if you looked closely at the website, you may have noticed something. The table does not show all labs on one page. There are multiple pages. So here's the question. How do we fetch data from all pages, not just the first one? Take a moment to think about it. What approach would you use? The answer is a loop. A loop lets you repeat the same set of actions automatically as many times as you need. Instead of fetching one page and stopping, we loop, fetch page 1, go to next page, fetch page 2, go to next page, and so on. In Process Studio, this is done using the start loop step. The start loop step marks the beginning of a loop. Every step placed inside the loop runs as a single thread, one after another, until the loop completes. Let me show you how this step works before we add it to our workflow. The start loop step always comes as a pair. When you drag it onto the canvas, a continue loop step is added automatically. Think of start loop as the opening of the loop and continue loop as the closing. All steps placed between them form the loop body. And one more thing. The continue loop step has no configuration of its own. It only shows the name of the start loop it belongs to, and the counter is incremented before each row is forwarded. Now, the start loop step has two output paths, true and false. True means keep looping. False means exit the loop. You can run a loop in two ways. First, using an iterator. You define a name and specify how many iterations to run. Second, using a condition. You enable the conditional checkbox and define a rule that controls when the loop stops. For complex conditions, you can combine multiple rules using and, or, XOR, and not, and or not. All right, let us open Process Studio and start building. Here is the workflow we built in the previous video. Right now, it fetches data from page 1 and stops. We are going to add a start loop step to make it repeat for multiple pages. Our plan is to place the loop around the web table step, so the fetch action repeats for each page. Let us drag the start loop step onto the canvas. Place it before the web table step. First, remove the existing connection between the apply button step and the web table step. Then drop start loop in between. Notice, the continue loop step appears on the canvas automatically. Connect the click apply button step with start loop step. Now, double-click the start loop step to configure it. Step name, loop for table data. Loop name. This field is auto-generated and not editable. We will use the Iterator option, so make sure the conditional checkbox is unchecked. Iterator name, ITR. Number of iterations. We want to fetch data from 5 pages and iteration starts from 0. Click OK. Now, connect the start loop step to the web table step. When you drag a connection from start loop, you will see two options, condition true and condition false. Select condition true and connect it to the web table step. We use true because we want to keep fetching data as long as the loop condition is met. The web table step and Excel Writer remain exactly as before, no changes. After Excel Writer, we need a step to click the next button and move to the next page. Let me quickly show you the pagination on the website. We add a GUI mouse action step after the Excel Writer step. I have already used GUI Spy to capture the XPath locator for the next button. Double-click the mouse click step. Name, click Next button. Select the technology as Web, click on Action. Criteria XPath. Criteria value, paste the locator. Click OK. Connect the next button step to the continue loop step of the start loop. This sends the workflow back to the top of the loop after each page. Finally, connect the false hop of start loop to the exit browser step. When all iterations are done, the browser closes cleanly. The workflow design is complete. Let us save the workflow. We have an error. Read the message carefully. Error while traversing the loop. Step web table is not supported inside the loop. Now, before you worry, this was completely intentional. I wanted you to see this error firsthand because it teaches a critical rule. The GUI Web Table step cannot be used inside a loop. This is a hard rule in Process Studio. So where does that leave us? We need to fetch table data inside a loop, but the web table step is not allowed. How do we solve this? Think about it for a moment. The solution is the GUI Web Loop Table step. This step does everything the web table step does, but it is built to work inside a loop. The fix is simple. We replace the web table step in our workflow with the web loop table step. But before we do that, let me explain how the web loop table step works, because it has some very important features and rules you need to know. It traverses HTML tables. It extracts specific columns. It outputs to workflow fields, and it is fully loop compatible. Just like the start loop step. The web loop table step comes as a pair. When you drag it onto the canvas, a continue loop step is added automatically. For each iteration of the loop, one row of the table is processed. The output is either the entire row or specific columns, your choice, and you have full control over which rows to process. Before we build anything, there are 5 rules you must follow. Rule 1. If your loop contains a switch case or error path, every path inside the loop must end with a continue loop step. Rule 2. Infinite loops will not be prevented automatically. You are responsible for defining a clear exit. Rule 3. Do not include blocking steps inside the loop. Rule 4. Steps that need all rows before executing, like merge, join, or join rows, are not allowed inside the loop. Rule 5. Row-generating steps like Excel input must stay outside the loop. Follow these 5 rules and your web loop table workflows will run smoothly. After understanding the 5 important rules, let's now look at how web loop table controls the data you want to capture in real-world automation. You may not always need the entire table. Sometimes you need all records, sometimes only the latest few entries, and sometimes only rows matching a specific condition. Web loop table step gives you flexible options to handle all these scenarios efficiently. Let's quickly understand the available row selection options. The All Rows option fetches every row available in the table. This is useful when you want complete data extraction or a full backup. The First N or Last N option helps you fetch only a limited number of records. Perfect for quick testing, sampling data, or processing the latest updates. And finally, the Conditional Block option allows you to filter rows based on criteria. For example, extracting only rows where cluster equals units. This is extremely useful for targeted automation. These options help make your web data processing more controlled and efficient. Let's now move to Process Studio and see how to configure this in an actual workflow. Let us remove the web table step and drag the web loop table step in its place. When I drop it onto the canvas, notice the continue loop step appears alongside it automatically. Connect the true hop of the start loop step to the web loop table step. Now let us configure it. Step name, fetch table data. Loop name, this is auto-generated and disabled. Now look here, there are 2 tabs. Web table and loop. The web table tab is for configuring the HTML table details. The loop tab is for controlling how rows are fetched. Let us fill in the web table tab first. Criteria, select class name. Criteria value. I have already used GUI Spy to capture it. I will paste the value now. Now the most important part of this tab, get values. This is where you define which columns to extract. The table has multiple columns. We skip serial number. Column indexing starts at 0, so acronym is index 1. Enter the mappings now. Table index 1 output field, acronym. Table index 2 output field, lab name. Table index 3 output field, cluster. Each output field name is what appears as a column header in your Excel file. Web table tab is done. Now let us go to the loop tab. The loop tab controls which rows to fetch and how. There are three main areas: conditional loop checkbox, number of rows, and the conditional block. Let us go through each one. By default, the conditional loop checkbox is checked. Uncheck it. This activates the number of rows dropdown. The dropdown has three options: all rows, first, and last. Let us start with all rows. Select all rows. This fetches every row in the table, no filtering. Click OK to save. Now let us connect the web loop table step. When you pull a connection from it, you see two options: condition true and condition false. Connect the true hop to the Excel writer step. We want to write data while the condition is true, while there are rows to fetch. Also, connect the Excel writer to continue loop step of the web loop table. To the false hop of web loop table step, connect the next button step. And to the next button, connect the continue loop of the start loop. Exit browser connection stays with false hop of start loop step. Let me now walk you through the complete connection logic, so the full picture is clear. The start loop step controls how many pages we fetch. We set it to 4 iterations. On the true hop of start loop, the web loop table step fetches the table data. On the true hop of web loop table, the Excel writer saves the data. The continue loop step of web loop table also connects to the Excel writer. On the false hop of web loop table, the next button click step moves to the next page. The continue loop step of start loop connects to the next button step, keeping the page loop going. And the false hop of start loop connects to exit browser, the clean finish. Let us save and execute. Watch the browser open and perform every action: navigation, drop down, apply. Page 1 data is fetched and written to Excel. Next button is clicked. Loop continues. All the iterations complete. Browser closes. Every step in Process Studio shows a green tick mark. Now let us explore the other row selection options. Go back into the web loop table configuration. Change number of rows from all rows to first. A number field appears. Enter 2. This fetches only the first 2 rows from the table on each page. Click OK, save and execute. Only the first 2 rows from each page were fetched. The last option works exactly the same way. Change first to last, enter a number, and only the last n rows are retrieved. Now the most powerful option, condition-based row filtering. This time enable the conditional loop checkbox. The number of rows dropdown is now disabled, and the conditional block becomes active. The conditional block has 5 properties. Let me explain each one. First one, a not toggle. Click once to negate the condition. Leave blank by default. Second, the value to compare. Click it to see a list of available fields. Third, the operator. Equals, not equals, greater than, and so on. Fourth, the field to compare against. Fifth, a static value. Use this when comparing against fixed text or a number. To add more conditions, click the small icon on the right and choose AND, or, XOR, and not, or not. Also, click the Get Fields button to make additional fields available in the condition block. Let us set a real condition. We want only the rows where cluster equals units. Click Field 2 and select Cluster. Set the operator to equals. In Field 5, the static value, type units. Click OK. Save and execute. You can see rows where cluster equals units were retrieved. Every other row was filtered out automatically. That is the conditional block. You fetch exactly what you need, nothing more. Before we close on web loop table, one last option. Additional fields. This lets you create custom fields that are attached as extra columns to each row. These fields are permanent. They remain visible even after the loop completes. Use them when you need to tag or annotate rows with extra information as they are processed. And that is a wrap. Let us quickly recap the journey we went on today. We started with a question. How do we fetch data from multiple pages? We answered it with a loop, using the start loop step. We built the workflow, executed it, and hit a deliberate error. The web table step is not supported inside a loop. That error led us to the solution, the GUI Web Loop Table step. We then configured every option, mode, column mapping, all rows, first and last, and the conditional block. You now have full control over how table data is extracted in any looping workflow. Keep practicing, keep building. And for any queries, kindly reach out to AutomationEdge community. Thank you. See you in the next one.